Well, hello everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is that you would like to celebrate. I'm excited because I need people in my life like our guest that is coming on. Jennifer Hurd is a professional organizer. Now, being organized is not one of my natural gifts, and so I have learned to really value people like Jennifer. So I'd like to say, welcome, Jennifer. Would you like to say hi and introduce yourself before we get started? Give us a little bit of your background.
Sure, happy to. Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Hurd, and I'm actually in the metropolitan Detroit area in Michigan in the United States. And I'm an organizer and a productivity coach. And I've had this business for 15 years here in the Detroit area, and prior to that out in Phoenix, Arizona. And I had a real estate business out there that I worked with and did organizing and flipping homes with them, home styling, etc. When I moved back to Michigan, I decided that I would make a list of all of the things that I loved to do and where my skills were the strongest and turn it into a business. So I did, and it's been since 2006 that I've had a business called Clean Sweep Consulting here in the Detroit area. So that's my background in terms of starting the business, and it was really just a labor of love when it first started. That's how it began, way back.
Oh, it's so great. Now I met Jennifer when she reached out to me because during the pandemic, this is the heart of this lady. During the pandemic, which I believe in America, you've still got it all going on. Australia's doing a bit better, but you had a heart to encourage people, and was you wanted to do interviews for a month, every day for a month, with people who could speak resilience and courage into the lives of your marketplace and people on social media. And I just fell in love with you. And so
I know I have a new bestie in Australia. I tell everyone.
That's exactly right. And if you're watching and you're joining us, please make a I'll see your comments come up, like us, share it, and join us, because I'll pop them up on the screen as they come up. But you may see this in a recording afterwards. But if you can join us live, then please do so. Yeah. So Jennifer, instead of getting stressed for these holidays, because I'm thinking there's presents, there's the perfect present, there's the food, there's the people that we've got to keep under control, or is it my job? So talk to me about the tips that you have for the different areas for preparing for the holidays.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say this just at the get-go, is that don't put too much pressure on yourself, especially in 2020. This is the year to not put pressure on yourself. And I know it's difficult because we're, especially in the States, and I'm sure there is some of that where you are, we're stuck in our house. We've been stuck in our house for quite some time. And it's like, how do I make this interesting and different and, feel like a holiday? Because normally if you're on a holiday vacation time, you're actually home and glad to be there. Whereas this season, it's a little bit the opposite. We're all kind of cooped up and a little bit, burnt out on the whole thing. So, I would take it from more the perspective of how can I be creative with this and make this year different, because it's been a very different type of a year. But before starting to, get into your decorating and whatnot, and some people may have already started into it, I really highly recommend making a plan before you just pull everything out willy-nilly and start putting it all over the house. Because having been stuck in the house for a while, you may have more things accumulated than usual. You may have more things out on surfaces if you have kids that are virtual schooling or if you're working from home. So the clutter can be a little bit disruptive. So I would say to plan well before you start as to what you're really going to put out this year and curate your collection a little bit. Because visually that can really be counterproductive. It's pretty, but it's a lot. It can be a lot. And some of us really, I know people who absolutely adore the holidays and just want to put everything out all at once. And, they have history with each of those items, etc. But maybe set the history aside this year and curate. So that's the first thing. And when you start and you're reviewing those items before you put them out, I highly recommend that you purge or donate things that you're not going to use this year. And there's, at least here, we still have a lot of our donation centers open for like our Salvation Army and things like that. And I'm sure you have some organizations there that could really use it. There are people here in financial distress, so they're looking for inexpensive decor that they might want to put out. So it can be a win-win. You know, you can get rid of things you don't really need, and someone might benefit from getting an inexpensive, cute thing to put up. Not to mention the charity who sells it will get the profit. So all in all, donating and selling, or even just throwing out things, maybe the strings of lights that don't work, etc., can be really nice and beneficial.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good. Feels
But
good.
once the holiday's over too, don't put it away. Like if that string of lights died on you, don't say I'll fix this next year. Just responsibly, obviously, recycle, or if it's got, wiring, obviously here at our recycling centers, we put those in a special place. But if you can, purge that before you put it away, don't put it back in a bin and store it if it's, not going to get used. So it's really a matter of just being very proactive before you put away for the year as well.
Okay.
The second aspect of getting ready for the holidays, I think, has to do with menus and food. That's a big part of everyone's holiday.
Sure.
And so I like to talk to people about menu planning a little bit, because there's things that everybody looks forward to. In our house, it's always the stuffing, which is everybody's favorite, and we do like a green bean casserole that's kind of like typical American fare, but everybody's waiting on that. That's the side that everybody can't wait to have. So make sure you have that grocery list made out in your menu plan in advance. And that's something that's, we've got a couple of weeks before the actual holiday, so you have time to be thinking about that. And I don't know how much in Australia you guys do. Do you guys have a lot of food delivery services there?
We do now.
Yeah.
With COVID, more people are shopping online.
Yeah.
And so it's become more acceptable and normal. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So you can get a lot of those orders placed, and pick delivery dates, et cetera, and just kind of knock that off your list and have it show up on your porch, which makes that, having to stand in line at the grocery store in the busy time of year a little less of a pain. So that's another aspect you can do to, something that you can do to make your life easier is shop and order for delivery, have it delivered to your door. Also to avoid being in crowds and et cetera, it's a little bit safer. And once you set that menu, then the other aspect of preparing is getting your preparation list. So it's not necessarily the grocery list, but also the timing of when you prepare things. I'm going to put the turkey in at X time, and then I've got to put something in the oven in at X time, or whatever your traditional meal is, the ham or, whatever. But having that little bit of a schedule together, if you're not sort of a natural large meal preparer like that, because that's a big meal usually for most families on the holiday, at least in the States, we do it up.
Jennifer, that's something that you could help people with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I find it daunting to plan a lot of activities.
Yeah.
So if I sat down with someone and said, okay, what have I got to do and when to get things done on time,
right?
Then people can maybe plan with a friend, or if they're really, if they need to, they can still contact you.
Oh, sure.
With that planning. But so planning, I thought about planning the food, but not down to the point of when I'm going to prepare. And some things can be prepared well ahead of time, like if you're going to rum balls, or because rum balls are huge here. Do you make those over there?
Oh, those are good. I've had them. They're not regular for us, but they're delish.
And you can always delegate to people coming, family members who are good at certain things too, I guess. But
right.
Having those things done, it hadn't occurred to me to make a list of when to do those things. Like I'll have a shopping list, but that's very good.
Yeah, the timing of when things come in, or, even that checklist of so-and-so's got this side dish this year, et cetera, so you know what's coming in versus what you have to make. Lists are a good thing. They really do help. The biggest aspect of lists that are so important is getting it out of your brain and onto a piece of paper, because your brain can get super cluttered too.
Yeah.
And so having it on paper or in your phone, a lot of people like to use their iPad, and make it in there. That's fine. There's some really good apps for that you can use. But I just think that even in your Google Calendar, you can put in the different times of when things have to go in and come out, and set a little alarm in there, and it'll ding. So
there lots of apps that And if you're watching this and it's sparking your imagination, if you know, let us know what you do. Do you have a list that do you have something that's different to everybody else? You say no, at Christmas time or Hanukkah time, whatever it is, then I always do this. You know, and if other people knew that you did that, it would help them. So feel free to pop it in the chat and make a comment. I'll see it here, and I'll pop it up. So it'd be great if you find us like that.
And Hanukkah has a whole nother set of, you know, aspects, because there's 7 different nights to have your gifts and different meals and things like that. So I have a lot of clients of the Jewish faith, and they have like all of their little compartmentalized little things that they bring out each night. Moms, you know, that they set aside and pack away each night, so that they have the little stories that they do with the kids and whatnot. So, you know, those are things that as you pack it away for the year, if you do it by night, it can be helpful, because then you can just pull it out each time.
Yeah, not such a big job. That's great.
Yeah, it does break it down. I would say that it makes it a lot more helpful. And then I wanted to move a little bit into the gift giving aspect of the holidays, because that's obviously a challenge for a lot of people. And I found some ways over the years to make it a lot easier. For birthdays and holidays, really, this is across the board a gift giving thought. And I like to really hit this home this year in particular, just because I know financially a lot of people have had some hardships and things like that. So the intentional aspect of selecting your gifts, being very intentional about that, I think is really important. The other aspect of the intentionality that's so key this year is that our kids have been on screens a lot more than usual. You know, used to be you could get them a new video game or something like that, and they would love that and be excited about it. But I feel like they're on their screens so much this year that maybe some of the other types of gifts, like an activity they can physically do, or a new bike, or, you know, something that they can be active with, is almost a better intention this year because of that, you know, being able to run off some of their energy. So just, you know, thinking about creative things you can do, and that depending on where you're located, obviously globally, there's restrictions on certain things, but you can, you know, do a museum membership or a zoo membership, if they like animals, or a gym or a play area that's in the area, if it's open, that they can go to. But those kinds of things. And then you don't have to be stepping on small parts in your carpet in your house while you're inside with COVID and, you know, whatever. You can promise and set up a date where you're going to go do that.
Nothing wakes you up in the middle of the night quicker than stepping on a piece of Lego.
Oh man, I'll tell you, it's unbelievable. And they get, especially if you have a larger pile carpet, I cleaned some up the other day at a client's house, and she's like, there's another one, and you couldn't see it at all. And they had a little infant, and it's amazing. They get everywhere. They just get everywhere. And they're wonderful. They're a wonderful toy, but the cleanup on them is definitely worth the price of admission. You do have to spend a lot of time with it. So that was one of the things, the intentionality. And then the second aspect of gift giving that I think people should consider is the sustainability aspect of your gift. So in other words, what sorts of resources is it using? What is the waste that it then creates? What is the maintenance that it then creates for you in your life? Like the Legos, for example. Is it something that you're going to have to constantly, you know, interact with to maintain or to keep their interest? Or is it something they can manage themselves, et cetera? So there's a lot of factors to the sustainability aspect of a gift. And then finally, my third point is about being thrifty. I think there's so many options, and thrifty in two ways: thrifty in saving money, but also go to a thrift shop and see if you can get it secondhand rather than buying it new, which is another sustainability point as well.
Yeah. Well, didn't you say with people being at home so much, they've, like, during these last few months, and you've seen it in your work, that people are throwing out, they're going, right, I'm going to sort this out, finally get into that cupboard, and they're sending perfectly good stuff to thrift.
Oh yeah, they're purging a ton. Because they're buying new stuff to keep their kids entertained, but the things that they haven't had very long. So a lot of them, are in very good condition. I'm taking brand new puzzles, brand new toys, because our company, as part of what we do free charity delivery. So I'm constantly taking brand new stuff. And sometimes it's just that the kids get so much at a birthday or something, they get glutted and the parents don't want to even open it. They're just like, let's just give it away before they even remember they have it. So brand new. So yeah, definitely check thrift stores, and you're benefiting a charity then when you purchase it there.
Yeah, I must admit, there were birthday parties with my children where as soon as she turned her head, I grabbed that paint set and stuck it up on top of the fridge.
Right?
No.
When's that going to come out, and what kind of damage is that going to do? Yeah. So, but the nice aspect of what we ended up doing with my daughter's birthday parties, just as an aside, she turned 6, and there was another single mom and we lived in a small apartment at the time, and she had so many kids in her class. I thought, I can't take this big influx of gifts. So this other mom and I got together and we started doing charity birthday parties. And the birthday parties were completely for charity. And we would just open the hatchbacks on the car. They would wrap the gifts and put the age and gender of who it was for. And we would just we called them birthdays to benefit. We would just benefit a charity. So in Phoenix, there was a homelessness organization that received all the gifts. And then the kids went on the day of the monthly birthday celebration at that charity and passed out the gifts to the kids. And they didn't care if they kept a gift. They were 6 years old and 7 years old and 8 years old because we kept doing it. And they loved it. So, because that was for them, they got a lot more out of giving all the stuff to the kids that didn't have anything and that were living in their cars. So there's a lot of ways you can be very creative. You can do that for Christmas. You can say, we're going to support a charity this year. We're going to pick a family. Because we have a lot of charities. I've been getting, emails from them about, could you pick this family or that family? Are you able to support a family this Christmas? Totally change it up and say, hey, guess what we're going to do? And have the household, go to that. The kids love it. Honestly, you'd be shocked. You think, oh, they're going to be so disappointed they didn't get gifts. They're not. I've had multiple clients do it with their kids as well. And the kids love it. They've furnished entire households for people coming out of shelters. And the kids go and help put the lamps and put the beds and put the toys in the house. And they absolutely were thrilled. So you can be very creative with what you can do intentionally for the holiday. So that's a couple of examples. The other thing you can do is just decide you're going to do like a big gift, like a play set for the yard or, a trampoline or something. But again, something physical that they can go out and bounce and get some energy out when you're stuck in the house.
It's that energy, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Because you can set up like a scavenger hunt the day that they get it or on Christmas. So they come down and, there's clues and they go around and then they discover it's in the yard and they see, it's all set up or whatever. So those are like really fun things you can do that.
I remember the Christmas that it was, 10 o'clock at night, we had to wait and we're in the backyard assembling it was a spring-free trampoline where it's a wall of netting.
Right, around the outside. Uh-huh.
Running inside to get, because we didn't have smartphones then, but running inside, getting on the computer to look up, the YouTube on how to assemble the thing. And
right.
Times to get it there. And the kids next door were upstairs watching us from the window. That was that one big thing for them and maybe a couple of little ones, but that was talk about energy. We used that trampoline until it fell apart. We had sleepovers on it in the summertime. It was great.
Yeah, my brother-in-law just built one into the ground, so it's at ground level, and he dug this gigantic pit and put it in so the kids can just run onto it. But it's the biggest hit on the street because all the kids come over and so it creates community for the kids and gives them a physical outlet. So those are great things to save up for and just do one big fun gift that they can use. And you guys are opposite season of us, so they can be outside right now, whereas here they have to wait. But
there'll be our summertime is Boxing Day. We'll be visiting my brother and his pool.
See.
Now, you don't have Boxing Day the day after Christmas, but you don't have Boxing Day. You've created one after Thanksgiving, after the sales, I believe. That was new to me, finding this one.
Yeah.
So
we do. Anything, if you can get the stores in the black, as they call, that's why they call it Black Friday. It's because that's the time of year where the stores hit their most profitable. So,
okay,
in the black, meaning in the black ink instead of the red ink. Yeah.
Okay, I wondered what that was for. That's great. And then the
that's
next
what it's from.
You have one where people would get, and that I believe has been going since 2012. They instituted that as a day for Giving
Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, there's like Small Business Saturday. There's a lot of them right around that time of year because they want people to purchase from the smaller businesses, not corporate entities, and try to support those. So there's all kinds of things you can sort of jump onto, but basically they want you to buy stuff. So and some more good gifts for kids, like scooters. You can do surfing lessons. You can do skateboards. Guitars. My daughter asked for so many guitars. She just ended up with, I think she's got 4 left now, but she's always wanted a new guitar all the time.
And you can always find those at thrift stores too, because they think they're going to learn and then they get sick of it. So,
yeah. And if they're my kid, they're like, oh, goody, another one. They all sound different to her. To me, it all sounds the same, but to her, it's like, oh, no, we use the acoustic electric.
No, my girls have got instruments that are, and one's got several guitars, and they all have names.
Yeah.
Like Ruby. I can't remember the exact names, but they've all got personalities because one's a bass and one's an acoustic. Yeah.
So, I mean, kids who are really into their music. The other thing is for science kids, get them a microscope. There's ones on sale here that you can get the whole little kit for like $80. It's not too bad. It's an actual really good one with a high magnification, but they can use that for a long time. And if you've got a STEM kid, someone who's really into their science, and
these are such great ideas, and I think I'm going to put you on the spot and say all these things that you're just pumping out with the microscope and the skateboard and all those things.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we'll make a list.
Oh, I'll put the list out. Yeah.
We'll make the list available as a follow-up. So, so that'll be good too.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do.
Because it's like I can't think of what to get people, and you're wandering around the shops hoping something will stand out.
Yeah.
Or, I can't trust myself on Instagram because, I start scrolling and then, oh, that looks interesting. I'll buy that, and it's like,
I've done that myself because, but usually it's because you know how they curate your feed. It's always a cool new storage gizmo or something. And I'll be like, oh, I got to get one of those because I got to see if it's any good. So then they keep feeding me more. It's terrible. But, and I will do that and I'll try it out. And then what I'll do is I'll do it as a giveaway, like at a Chamber of Commerce event or something. I'll just give it away. But I want to get it and check it out, see if it's a good thing to recommend. So
I thought it was 3 for the price of 2 or something, because I was going to get one. It's like, I'll have to get 3 now. Who am I going to get the other 2 to? I don't know. Somebody will come up. And I thought, this is clever. And it's just cheap enough to make it an impulse buy, which isn't necessarily a good thing.
Right. I know.
But it's there.
One of the things too, do you guys do stockings?
Yes, sometimes. Yeah. Well, pillow slips.
Like they're little gifts though, for those small gifts. I like to tell people, do edible treats, like fun little things they can eat, because then again, no clutter when it's over, when they're done with it. You can do those really fun electric toothbrushes. They're small. That's a useful item, but kids like to have their own. You can do other there's so many fun, funky socks, that are like, they have kittens on them or tacos on them or whatever. Like those are fun, but they'll wear them. So again, less clutter, just more things they can use. So I like to recommend that. And the other thing is,
get them those. They get their child those squeaky shoes that go eat with every step. It's just that's that passive aggressive gift that you can just
right where they are, but meanwhile you have to listen to it.
Sister-in-law or someone. No, I know, I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. But please don't do that.
A final thing for kids that kids might not be so thrilled with, because it's not a toy, but it's important, is you can do a college fund. You can start a college fund and you can request the family members who normally buy all the junk that clutters up your house, say, college is in like 3 or 4 years. I need help amassing some funds in the college fund. Or I'm purchasing an index fund that they can get in on, or there's wonderful apps that you can purchase stocks right on the app and, have people contribute. So, I like to recommend those kinds of things because if a kid who's maybe in middle school age or, like those middle grades up through high school will appreciate that, because they know they'll have a lot more money for their expenses when they're at school. So that's the extent of my kid stuff. I had a big list because I just love that. I'll type it up though, and I will definitely provide it.
Yeah, great. We'll add that to the feed so that
definitely, for sure.
And then touch with you on through your website.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, there's a way to sign up for my mailing list on the first page of the site, so people can.
Why don't we have a look at your website now?
Yeah, sure.
And it is cleansweepconsultingnet. So I'm going to bring it up across the bottom of the screen now. Cleansweepconsulting.net. Mm-hmm. And that's something that people can sign up for exciting offerings. They can click on there and have a look and find out a bit more about you and what you do and how you might be able to help them. And you've got a great blog there that's very helpful.
Yes.
So,
and we also do virtual organizing. So someone can hop on Zoom with us and we can take a look at the space and make recommendations virtually. So we don't have to physically be on site. And we do, in addition, for many clients, just provide the accountability and the process. Like, okay, this week, we've decided you're going to work on this. How's that coming along? And that kind of thing. So we don't have to physically be there with you, but we can help manage it.
Yeah, well, especially if you do like a Zoom on your phone, you can carry your phone around the house and show the different compartments. And I love that. I love that idea. And certainly I'll be taking advantage of that and talking with you about even organising things to do with my business, ready planning for next year. So it's so great because you also have a marketing background as well.
I do. I have a marketing MBA from the University of Detroit, actually, that I got a long time ago. And then I went to a global leadership school also after that out in Phoenix. So a lot of what my background is in is creating global brands. And, I worked for Cadillac and Pontiac and a lot of the big automotive brands when I first started out. So I'm used to working on a global stage, which is really fun.
And you think strategically, which is what an organizer needs to do. And you've got the people skills to help people like you to, it just gets overwhelming. It can get very overwhelming. I mean, I'm brilliant in my field of expertise. I know, and I'm great with, people and the message that I have. But it's like, I know I could do so much more when I'm a bit more organized and have that scaffolding to help me launch. So I'm not the only one who's like that. That's, I guess, that artistic temperament that
well, one of the biggest things that my business coach teaches is know your strengths, focus on your strengths. If it's not your strength, hire someone to help you get it done or do it for you and get it off your plate so you can be helping people, right? You can be moving forward. So that's what organizers exist for. We are those, people who just, I jokingly say I'm kind of like Rain Man. I can just look at a space and go click, click, click. This is what needs to happen. But it's not something that everybody naturally sees,
that's brilliant. So what's next?
Lots of stuff. So I wanted to talk about adult gifts. I had a couple ideas for that. There's a couple new things that are out. There's a thing called a Rocketbook notebook, and it connects your email, your computer, your phone, etc. But you can put all your notes in there for projects that you're working on, and you can handwrite, and it converts your script to text. So it's a really neat thing that you can get for an adult for Christmas. It's called the Rocketbook notebook. I'll type it up in my list. Subscriptions to things like, for example, Audible or Kindle or a streaming service like a music streaming service, an online yoga class, because most people are doing their fitness from home in the States. I don't know if you guys are, but an online class that they can join. Or there's a wonderful site. I don't know if you guys use our masterclass site very much, but in the US, we have that masterclass.com, where people who've written movie scripts, people who are novelists, people who are actresses, it's all about how to do what they do. And they teach these master classes. It's an amazing gift for an adult who might have a passing interest in something that they'd like to pursue and they want to learn more about. So, just things like that to consider. It takes up absolutely no space. It's completely sustainable, and it helps somebody learn something completely new that they might really enjoy and that might benefit their business or just their life in general.
That's true. You can actually gift. Like if you have a family member or someone who's in business, and you could gift them a session with Jen. That's not to say you want to do that tact. You don't want to say, look, you're such a slob, you need Jen. It's not. or it might be a masterclass in something or how to do something. So what a great thing! It's digital. There's no wrapping paper to clean up.
Nope.
You could even just pop it in a little card, and then you have a little, something to say what it is and where to go for the link. What a thoughtful idea. And even things that might be, I know with my husband and I, like when there's a course I want to do online, I'll think, okay, well, it's close enough to my birthday. He can buy that for me.
Right. Right. So be strategic, if you want to ask your spouse or significant other for a gift that's useful. I mean, take a look out there and see what class you might like. Or Audible subscriptions are great because you can get a lot of self-help books read by the author. And I do that a lot because I drive a lot for my business when I'm on site here. So I'll put Audible on in the car and just, soak up as much as I can about how-tos and all that kind of stuff. And it's really useful. It's good brain candy.
That's good.
Yeah, definitely. And then sort of the final piece of the puzzle that I wanted to talk about is like, okay, now we've had our holiday, we've had our decorations up and down, we've had our feast, right? And we're heading into the new year. And what do we want to see in 2021? It's got to be better than 2020, right? But how do we want to position ourselves so that we can have a bit more success? Because I think a lot of people in 2020 found themselves kind of frozen, right? Didn't know what you couldn't do, or a little scared to step out, or didn't know what to do with your business because you were halted, right? So I think if you really want to achieve some things in 2021, maybe sort of recoup what was lost in 2020, it really does mean you got to take the bull by the horns in January and jump in. So in organizers parlance, we call January go month, meaning get organized month. We kick it off every year, New Year's, with a lot of training courses and that kind of thing, nationally and internationally too, with our NAPO organization, which is our professional organizing membership group that we have. But a lot of what we work on with people is not just the physical clutter, because that's a component and that's an important thing to get a handle on, especially, after the holidays, making homes for things, making sure that all the stuff that did come in lives someplace and isn't just all over. So creating homes for things is kind of the first priority, getting that all wrangled and then putting things away that were out for the holiday. But then in addition, taking a look at what your family routine is like, if there is one, and whether that supports the goals you have for your family this year or not. Because everybody's routine has been really tossed up, right? It's not this last year, it just kind of everything went to heck in a handbasket in terms of what your routine may have been. So you got to create a new one, because we'll all be getting back out there once the vaccine is more pervasive, once more people have had this thing and they're treating it better. We'll be back out there sometime this year. So work on the routine now. Start to create habits for the kids, for your, you and your spouse, maybe what things you're going to take on, each of you, for the responsibilities in the house. Maybe some things need to shift. Have that conversation in January. Like, start the year out right. And sometimes that can be a little bit of this, but do it because it's worth setting your year up for success and not feeling like disgruntled because you've been saddled with something all year long, right?
It's so good. I think one of the benefits of the hardship of the year is the adversity helps you clarify what's really important. And so if you realize that, you know what, spending time together is important, and, you know, even spirituality and your faith, and with a lot of churches being shut down, you know, that people have really considered, well, what is my, you know, that relationship with God, or however you do that, you know, that's important. So it's a great time to implement those and do things differently, not just do everything go back to how it was. I love that.
I mean, if you want to have a stronger spiritual practice, build it in. You know, you've got to plan for that, create time for that. If you're going to get up before the kids get up and spend some time, then do it. If you're going to do your workout at a certain time of day, don't just give up by the second week of January. Give yourself some slack if you miss a day or two. Don't quit though. You know, make sure you put the routine in writing if you need to. Put it on your bathroom mirror, on your refrigerator. This is the things I'm going to check off today, these boxes, to make sure that I'm my most productive. And exercise is a big one. So make sure you try to, you know, get those sorts of things in. But the family routines are super important. And a lot of families now, because of especially having been at home so much with all of them home, even the dads that travel or the moms that travel, you know, everybody's been really in the box, is doing a weekly planning session with the family. Some of that has to do with resourcing things because we need to share the computer, or we need, you know, somebody's doing a live stream or planning meeting with a group that they need the house quiet at this time, right? But if you sit down, like, for example, every Sunday evening and take a look at the calendar for the week and make sure everybody knows, or somebody needs a ride here or there, whatever it is. I love, there's even Pottery Barn makes them, but there are a lot of companies that make a nice sort of like a planning calendar for your wall, Container Store. You can get them on Amazon with dry erase, but you can put the week up there and everybody just contributes so that nothing falls through the cracks. Weekly planning sessions are great. Start at the beginning of January, just do it I say Sunday just because, but with people's schedules, you pick the day that works for you. Could be Monday night, whatever it is. But that helps a lot to get the family all together on the same page. And then having a command center in the house that sort of ties into it, having that planning calendar, having a spot where there's that central hub that everybody needs. And if you have a situation where your kitchen counter is your hub and there's just stuff everywhere, try to find a spot that people know to put like the notes from school or the, you know, requests for you to bring X and such to sports practice or whatever. Make a little basket, make a little spot so it just all lands together so you can review it and know what's going on. Same thing with, you know, if you get it in email, just make sure that you have a central hub for that. But that really is important. So creating a spot to get the stuff out of your brain, put it on the wall, centralize it, that's going to help you have a much more successful year. Just those simple things. And the final point I think that I really want to make for 2021 is to create some moments with your family. Plan, even if it's just an hour drive and there's some place you can go that's outside or that's exciting that someone's been wanting to see. Plan in some things. Do that in January. Pick some dates and put them on the calendar. It'll improve your demeanor when you're cooped up because you'll be like, oh, in 3 weeks, we're going on that little road trip, right? But put some things out there for yourself because it's a lot less isolating. It's a lot more sort of endorphin inducing, right? It makes you have that moment where you're just like, oh, I'm going to go do this. I get out. I'm going to, you know, we're going to have some fun with the family. Kids can get excited about it. So definitely plan those memories. And that's also part of that self-care piece, you know, making sure mentally that you get your breaks and get the ability to just stop for a minute. So yeah, definitely plan those memory making moments. And part of that can be, you know, those weekly family meetings. Have the family brainstorm. What can we do this year that's COVID friendly that we all want to do that we could just bust out of here? You know, and have a little bit of a good time outside, or what have we wanted to see? And I think that that's going to be huge, just because this year's been so locked down and isolating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my goodness. you've covered
a lot of ground.
You've covered food, you've covered people, you've covered business and our future. I'm really impressed, and I feel much more encouraged. With come and Jennifer Hurd. My goodness, let's have another look at your website.
Oh yeah, for sure.
See where they can go to get more details from you. They can sign up there for offers and tips and so on, and they can get in touch with you that way.
Yes.
So if they would like to have a virtual organizing session, then it's a perfect time of year for that to be happening. Maybe after Christmas, perhaps in the early January, to get Jen online and see what you can do, because it's amazing. You don't have to go buying new stuff, and if you just learn how to sort out what you do have and know where to put it. So that it's amazing how many times I've bought a new gadget and realized after I've got it home that I actually had something else that would have done the job possibly better. So it reduce waste. So look, just so good to have you.
There's a contact form on the site to reach out directly, and then also that bar that you saw, that was to sign up for the mailing list. We won't spam you, I promise. What we do send out are some tips and some fun offers and classes that we'll do.
Okay.
So we absolutely don't abuse that. So just know that the contact area there.
They can contact you without actually signing up to the subscription, but they can do that.
Get a quote here.
Get a quote.
Yeah. So it asks some questions there about what's the situation that you're encountering and how can we help, and then you can let us know, and it comes right to me. So
just in the bottom left corner there. Fantastic. Look, I get all excited when I see things like this, and I go, oh, that's what I want my office to look like. I keep bringing things downstairs to organise me in my studio, which is just great. So Jennifer Hurd, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Been such a pleasure. And being organised is part of a resilient mind, because then you can think straight and do so much better. And that's why I value things like this, because as a professional speaker, and I speak on resilience, change and leadership, resilience, change and leadership, all of those things require I'm going to change for the better with my organising skills,
right,
and lead myself better for doing these things. And sometimes when you're a leader, you've got to follow someone else's direction. You know when to allow somebody to speak into your life and say, you know what, we can do better. We can arrange this so it works a lot better for you. So Jennifer, I just want to say thank you so much for coming, and I love your tips. And when you get that list to me, I will add it to the social media feed.
I'll do it right now.
Encourage everybody to be in touch, and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, end of year, new beginnings. 2021, it may not change immediately overnight, but things are on the mend. They will get better.
Definitely.
All right. Bless you heaps, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you all.